Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Tatiana and I make videos on faith, lifestyle, and relationships. So since it's still January, okay, I wanted to make a little video on how some people may call plan for my New Year's resolutions. I call it planning out my year with new intentions and goals. So today I just kind of wanted to walk you through the process of what I've been doing for the last 2 years so far. So not super long, I'm not perfect at it, but it's been super helpful for me just with planning out the new year and actually turning my goals and my resolutions and intentions into realities and keeping up with them. So I can't take credit for this system, if you will, I guess, but one of my favorite Christian book authors and bloggers and social media content creators is Felicia Masonheimer. We'll link her Instagram down below if you're interested in just her stuff. She did an Instagram live a couple years ago just explaining how she plans for the New Year's and the system that she uses. I have already done this process here in my notebook, so it's I used it's a pretty large notebook, and I used 5 pages. So I did a lot of journaling and reflecting and planning, but I have here on my little notes on my phone just kind of the plan for how to go about it. If you guys are interested, it's not too late to plan out your new year and the things that you want to get done and whatever you know the Lord is calling you to do this year. And first things first is starting off with a word for your year. In the past, my words have been resolve, patience, grace, just different words like that kind of just theme up what I feel or know God is calling me to for the new year. This year, I'm trying to find a more creative word, but until then, my word for the year is surrender. So maybe releasing might be better, but yeah, so my word is release, and just going along the lines of surrender. I just know that this year the Lord is really calling me just to take a step deeper into surrender in different areas of my life. So when you have your word, that kind of sets the tone for what your goals are and how you want to live your life for the next year. Okay, so first we're going to start off by just brain dumping all of your potential goals that you have for the new year. And so just take a sheet of paper and just write down all of the goals that your mind can think of that you would maybe want just whatever comes to your mind. Just brain dump it all for a potential goals or resolutions for the new year. So that's the first thing that you do. Then after you've brain dumped that, just kind of are going to ask yourself, journal out some questions about yourself and about your past year to help you reflect so that you can plan for the new year. So you're gonna journal out things that make you happy. So what fills your cup, what brings you joy, what activities do you love to do. For example, I put watching the sunrise or watching the sunset or going on breakfast or brunch dates. So these are the things that for me, when I just have time, these things fill my cup, I enjoy them. So yeah, list down things that make you happy, bring you joy. All right, the next assessment is assessing every area of your life. So I'll list out the topics, but listing out every area of your life, just assessing how that's going. And so you're gonna be assessing your health, your friendships, your finances, your spiritual life, your family, recreation, and work. So these are all the areas of your life that you will be assessing. And so what I just kind of did is just literally, I just journaled out and I just wrote down the different areas of my life, and then I just wrote where I'm at or where I want to be with these areas, my actual goals. So for me, what I put under health was I want to focus on taking more supplements and vitamins for my body. I want to be eating healthier meals that have a higher protein, fiber, and healthy fat percentage to fill me up. I want to get some movement in at least 3 times a week. So things like that. So you write down kind of where you're at, where you want to be under these areas of life, and then you star 3 that are most important to you for this year. So what's really priority for you this year, just put a little star around it, and that's what you're really going to highlight and focus on for this coming year. Okay, after you listed all of that, you are going to journal out everything that worked last year for you. And so what's meant by that is what things did you do last year that maybe you plan to do last New Year's that really worked out well this year, that you're that was a great choice, that worked well. So some examples could be, for me, it was planning out every week and planning out the weeks with my boyfriend so we were more organized. Waking up early to have more time for myself and to prepare for the day. So what worked for you last year. Keeping track of that can be really helpful to know the things that you want to bring into the next year. Okay, and then the next list is what didn't work last year. This one's really helpful, so I wrote down things like not having boundaries with my family or relationships, staying up super late, oversleeping, mindless Instagram scrolling when it was just too long and it was just draining me. So list down those things that didn't work for you last year, and like really think about these things, guys, because a lot can happen in a year. Sometimes I like to look at like my Instagram archives to see like what I was doing or what was going on every month of last year to give me insight into like how I was doing, what was I going through, or if you journal, look back at your journal prompts. Okay, next is what lessons did I learn? So really think deeply about this one. I think about, like I was saying earlier, like what things did you go through, what life events happened, what happened in your emotions, in your heart, in your relationship with the Lord, in your relationships with people. What did you really learn? What stood out to you? And just bullet journal those things. Next is what people you were really grateful for last year. So think about who your people really were, what people really made an impact in your life that you spent a lot of time with, that was really life-giving and fruitful, and list those things down, because it could be new people, it could be old people, it could be different based on the year before. Write down lies you believed about yourself. So what strongholds in your mind that you were really clinging to last year, write those down so that you're aware. Write down fears that you had last year. What were the biggest things that you were scared of happening, that was really on your mind? I love this question. So jot down, if I was able to step into my fears and take action, what would I feel? So we don't really think about this question super often, but if we were able to like kick those fears out and just like choose to wrestle through them and to like dive deep, and despite the fears, like actually take action and like do the things that we're scared of or like push through, like how would we feel and what would happen? And so I know for me, I said I would feel super powerful and confident in my choices. I would feel like every day I'm actually becoming who the Lord is creating me to be, and that would just really fuel me and like build my security and my confidence in Him, because I'm like actually having a victory over those fears. All right, next questions I also really love. It's who do I want to be when I'm 80 years old? And so like really think about when you're like 80 years old, you know, you have like, you're married, you have kids, whatever, grandkids, like who do you want to be? Like what kind of woman or like man do you want to be when you're 80? Like when you reflect back on your life. What legacy, this is the next question that goes along with this one, is what legacy do you want to leave? Like what influence, when people know you, you know, after you died, what do you want people to remember about you? I think it's really good to think about like who do you want to be then, and start thinking about that now, even if you're far away from 80. Next, who will I be next year on this same day? So the day that you're journaling this out, think about this very same day, but next year, who do you want to be? This was also a really cool question. I basically love all these questions, but I was like, wow, like in a year you want to be transformed, you want to see growth and progress, right? It's not going to be perfect, but you want to see a substantial amount of change in your life based off what you do this year and how you plan out this next year. Okay, next is writing down what mattered this year and what didn't matter. So very similar to the past comparison questions, at the end of the day, what was important this year and what wasn't? It could be things like spending intentional time with your family. It could be something that really mattered this year, and you know, it's something I didn't really do in years before, but this year it really mattered and I realized how important it was. Okay, and what didn't matter? Okay, so just another reflection question. Next question is, in my most purposeful year yet, what would my day look like? What would I feel? And how can I accomplish this? So this is like a three-parter. So a year of intention, a year of action, a year of change, right? In your most purposeful year yet, what would your days, like your mundane Monday through Friday, what would they look like? And how would you feel? So this is really just digging into, okay, in order to accomplish your goals and the things that you want to get done, what does that look like in the everyday? Like just for example, what would your habits be? And because of your new lifestyle and your new habits, how would that affect your heart and how you feel and your emotions? And then how would you actually get there? What do you need to actually get there? All right, next, in 2022, I am saying yes to these things and no to these things. So it's another comparison one. So what are you saying yes to and what are you saying no to? In a way, it's a little bit repetitive to the past questions, but it's a different way to think about your goals and your lifestyle and what you want to change. And so it really helps your brain to really get the picture and just get it in your mind of what you're changing and where you're heading for the next year. I know this is a lot. I had to do this 2 different days because it was just so overwhelming to do in one day, so I get that. But after you've answered all those questions and really reflected on them and thought about it and actually given it time, now you're actually going to write down exact goals you want to have. And so I put 8 goals. You can put more, you can put less. I might honestly have too much. You want it to be doable, but you do want it to be intentional. Go back to your brain dump of potential goals and just kind of like figure out which ones stand out most to you, which ones you really want to focus on this next year, and just like categorize them and organize them out and write them all down. So like these are your, like all year, these are your specific goals that you're going to be intentionally focusing on every month, every week, and every day. Okay, so once you have your goals, a really helpful thing to do is, instead of just having them sit there and then you forget about them all year, is to actually get them like written down or like typed down somewhere, and even like laminate it and put it somewhere where you can see it, like on your wall or like wherever you go most, so that it's continuously on your mind and you're reminding yourself of it. But not only that, but actually breaking down these goals and breaking them down, like, okay, I want to have like high protein, fiber, and healthy fat meals 3 times a day. Like how do I need to break that down so that actually happens, right? So meal prepping could be one of them, or like going to get groceries one week, or prepping the exact meals that I'm going to have. Like, how am I going to break that down so it actually realistically happens? So go through every goal and break down, how am I going to do this? Not just actually do this, but get really specific with how you're going to get it done, how you're going to organize it so it becomes a reality and not just an idea or a thought. So once you've broken down your goals into actual like practical steps, what you're going to do is, when you plan out your month or your week, so for me, I plan out by week. And so I use the time management matrix, which I did a whole video on how I plan out my weeks. I use that, so I don't plan like by month. It's a little too broad for me. I like to get specific. So what I do is I just keep these goals in mind, how I'm actually gonna execute these plans into actions throughout the week. So I literally plan out like, okay, I'm gonna like floss my teeth at this time, right? And I write it down so it's in my week, and then the night before every day I review the next day, and I again go through what my goals are for the year, and I make sure that they're incorporated into my daily schedule. So this really helps me so that my New Year's goals don't just become something I forget about just in a journal, but they're actually out and I'm actually using them, and I'm actually like taking action towards them like every month, every week of the year, right? So obviously this won't be perfect. Like some days I'm not gonna like floss, or I'm not gonna like eat the way I wanted to eat, but this just guarantees that you're actually gonna make progress, because these goals and habits are here to help you and like set you free for the future. So like you really need to know why you're planning and setting the goals that you are. You need to have a really deep why, because that's what's gonna really get you to do them and take action when it really comes down to it every day. One thing I love that Felicia Masonheimer says is that following through on these small habits every month, every week, and every day of the year, it's a form of freedom and relieving yourself of future stress. When you think about that, it's so motivating to get this stuff done, to take action, and to really like do your best and put your all into it. Another really great reminder is to be flexible with your goals and with how you incorporate them throughout your month, weeks, and days, because we all know life is unpredictable. So this is like a great outline to have for your year, but obviously we know that anything can happen and things don't always go as planned, right? But it's better to have a plan in the long run than to have nothing and then see how it goes. So as long as we have an outlined plan here, we can adjust, we can be flexible with things that don't work out a certain way. So a really good idea is every quarter throughout the year, go through your goals again and make sure they align with your values, and adjust them if you need to. If there's something that you're like, you know what, actually I don't need this in my life, I don't need to do this, or I changed my mind, or I want to add this, then do that. You know, we're always evolving, we're always changing. The Lord is always teaching us new things, and we're always growing as believers. So definitely important to be flexible with this. If you don't get something done during the month, the week, or the day, one thing that I'm reminding myself this year that I was reminded by Felicia Masonheimer was to roll it over to the next day. So if you don't get something done that was like a part of your New Year's goals for the agenda for the day. There's no point in feeling guilty about it. Like, we're only human, and so just roll it over to the next day. Don't even think about it. Don't even let it be something that gets in the way of your goals, but just roll it over to the next day and do it the next day and prioritize it the next day, and keep that mindset to keep growing and making progress. Releasing the timeline of these things happening is really helpful so that you don't get so rigid and perfectionistic about our goals, because again, it's planning and outlining, but with flexibility, right? The Lord, we plan our ways, but the Lord directs our steps, and He will never stop doing that. So this is just a really great outline to have for your year. Remember to have grace for yourself. Remember to be flexible. Remember to roll it over to the next day, the next week, the next month, or the next year. And I really hope that this helps you guys really reflect on what's important in your life, who the Lord is creating you to be, what you want your lifestyle to be like, and actually taking action on these things and seeing the fruit of that. I'm really excited to see how this works out in my year this year. It definitely motivates me, but you definitely have to keep on track with it. So yeah, I feel like there's so much more I could have said, but this is just like a gist of how I plan out my new year. I hope it was really helpful for you. If you liked this video or it helped you in some way, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me so I can grow and create new and more content for you guys, which I love to do. I love this platform. I think it's so fun and so creative, and it's just a cool way for me to use the gifts that the Lord has given me and to really like share things with you guys. But let me know what kinds of videos you want to see. And lastly, if you don't already, follow me on Instagram. Follow me here at Tatiana Andrea, where I post just my lifestyle and things that I do, and just pretty aesthetic photos, which I am a slave to. I love them. They're just so fun. It's just like nothing better than looking at like a perfectly, like just like a really like awesomely designed feed. Ugh, I just love it. Like, I know it's not always doable, but like I just love it. It makes me happy. So anyways, leave a comment below and let me know what kind of videos you want to see, and let me know what your goals are for the new year. I would love to know what yours are, to be inspired, to inspire other people. So please comment below what goals that you have for your new year so we can just share the love. But I love you guys, and I hope you're having a good day, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.